Okay guys, welcome back. um in this video we'll be looking at how we can combine all we've learned in HTML and CSS over the last few days to build a static web page. So together we're going to be building this page from the start to the finish. um we have very minor features, just the active home effect. We have hovering effects on this menu. Then we have this transition effect on these buttons. Same with this one. We have this banner. Then we have this section that helps you to learn how you can use the display property. Then your overflow property shows in this column, positioning, and how you can style your forms, how you can use all of the CSS properties you've learned to build a nice looking web page. So okay, let's start. So the first thing we're going to do is start with our index.html. I've created a folder called static, and I have my index.html file opened. So we're going to do this, then change this title to static web page. Now we're going to be following semantics. So here we're going to be having header. Inside our header we'll be having the nav, oh sorry, yeah, the nav tag. Then inside our nav is going to be divided into two. We have the logo and the main menu. So for the logo, we're going to do class of logo, not love logo. And my logo, I'm just going to use text and probably style it later on. I don't want to use an image or anything, so I'm going to name the logo static. Now the next element we're going to be looking at is the URL on ordered list. Inside our unordered list we have our li, and each li comes with a link. Okay, so that's how that's going to go. This first link is going to lead to our index.html, that is the home page. So we call this home. Yeah, then we have to give it a class. Giving it a class of link and active. You know why we gave it active later on. So next we're going to have the next li. So we're going to have the next li. Here is not going to be index.html anymore. It's going to be r. Then it's not going to be active. It's just going to be link. Then this is going to be about. Now let's try to replicate this a couple of times. Okay, so this is about, this is info. The next one is contact. The next one is newsletter. So this is the HTML of our nav. Okay, and this other one is subscribe, but this is a button. Subscribe. Subscribe. Now this is going to have a class of button instead of link. So we have button. Okay, and that is all for the that is all for our HTML for the nav. So let's create a CSS folder. Sorry, not folder, file, and let's reference it in our index.html. So we have a link style.css. So now we can begin to style. Okay, so um before we begin to start, let's see what we have. This is what we are trying to recreate. Okay, and this is our, oh, we've not gone live. Wow, so let's go live. Yes, so we're live. So this is how it looks like without styling, and we are trying to get here. So let's use our CSS to style this up. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get this fonts family. So we're going to go to browse fonts, that's Google Fonts. I used Praise, okay, and in this case I'm going to be using the import. In this Praise, they have just one of these styles, which is the regular 400, and I've selected it, that's why it's showing up here. So I'm going to click on the import, so it's going to give me the syntax for this particular import. So I'm just going to copy this out, Ctrl C, and use it in my style.css. If you want to import inside style.css, just place it at the top at import, then the link to your font. So if I'm going to reference this particular font in my CSS, all I need to do is just declare this font family praise cursive, and it's going to use this font family for me. So let's go back to our style.css. So the first thing we want to do is use the universal selector to notify our browser that we'll be using the border box sizing. That is, we want the padding to be an addition to the content. Okay, we do not want an extra height or width to be given to our padding aside from the content. So that's what box sizing does. So we are giving a border box that, okay, the height and the width of our elements should be calculated from the border down to the content. So that's what border box sizing does. So I'm going to say margin for every element on this page should be 0, padding as well. So we're working with the window screen, the viewport, the exact viewport of the window screen. So now let's start to style our website. So the first thing we want to target is the header. Now we're going to be giving our header a background color of I think FE. Have it written somewhere. Sorry, FE7D 6A. Okay, so that's our background color. Then we have a padding of 1 rem all over the header, and we're going to be having a width of 100%. Then next we're going to be targeting our nav. Now our nav, what we want to do is where are we? Sorry, okay, we're here. So what we want to do is we want to make this to span in opposite directions. This whole link moves here while this logo stays here. So we're going to be using display flex for that. We're going to be using display flex. Then we want to justify content space between, then also align them to the center. Okay, and we want to give this a width of 100% as well, and a max width of 1000 pixel, so that on larger screens, it does not just keep expanding. Even though we're not going to be focusing on media queries on this particular video, we're not going to be talking about responsiveness, but this max width is so that if it is viewed on a larger screen, it just doesn't keep expanding once it gets to 1000 pixel. So the next they want to do is want to place the content to the middle by using margin 0 auto, and that puts our content in the middle. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, so now we have them apart and in the center of everything as well. So next thing we want to look at is the logo. So let's start the logo. We gave the class of logo. Now we want to style it with this font family, praise. The name of the family is praise, and it is in the cursive genre. Yeah, then we want to give it a font size of 2.5 RAM and a color of ash 9E. I think something like rose wood or so. 4 yeah. Okay. Oh, is this it? I think it's a different color. We are using 7 to 2C 2D. Okay. Yeah, that's the problem. Oh, fine. Okay. So now we've been able to style our logo. Remember, we are going here. This is what we want to achieve. Okay, so let's continue. So we styled our logo. Now we want to style the links. So the next thing we want to target is the URL. Now we want to give the URL as well display flex so that they will all go in the horizontal direction and not the vertical direction. Then we want to give it a width of 70%. That's 70% of the header. It should occupy 70% of the header. Now let's have the LIs. We want to remove the list style. So say list style none. Then we give it a margin for each link, 0 at the top and bottom. Then we have 2 rem left and right. Let's see where we are. Okay, so it's already looking like it. Now we want to go back to target the links. Let's target the links. So we have a first we want to remove the underline, and we use text decoration to remove that. So we say text decoration none. Then increase the font size. Let's say 1.2 rem. Then change the color to white. Then cursor, that means if you are trying to click on it or over around it, the cursor should be pointer, like a hand pointing onto it, not just the arrow. Okay, that's what cursor pointer means. Okay, now we gave the active, we gave where is it, we gave this index.html, since that's the particular page we are currently on. Okay, we gave it a class of active. So now let's start that. So every a that is dot active should do what, should have a color of ash 9, where's 9E 4244. Yeah, so let's see where we are at. Okay, okay, we're getting there. So about, okay, fine. Then next thing, we want to style the button. Okay, we want to style the button, but before then I think we should style the over. Okay, so we give a the class of link, so the particular link with the active class, when it is overed, let's give it a border. We're giving it a border bottom none, because we're going to be giving the rest of that bottom. So let's say dot no a over the link over, right? We are giving a border bottom. So when you over on the links, you want it to have a border bottom of 4 pixel, the double border, and a color of FFC FC7. So let's try that out if everything is working. Okay, so fine, this is working. Okay, remember this wasn't giving the class link, this was giving button. So let's start this button now. So we say dot button, we're gonna give it a border 3 pixel solid, the 9 is, yeah, this one. Oh, not solid, sorry, solid. Then we have padding of 1.5 rem top and bottom, then 1 rem, sorry, left and right. Then what else? We're giving a border radius of 5 pixel. Then background color should be ff, yeah, this one. Then color should be 9, yeah, that means the test color should be that color. Then because we're going to be giving it an over effect, so we're going to be using transition. Remember we talked about transition, so we're going to be it should run for 1 second. The transition, we are what we want to transit is the background color. So what we want to transit is the background color. Okay, so now let's work on the over effect. Dot button on over, what do we want it to do? We want the background color to change from FE from 9E4244 to FE7D6A. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to change this transition to all, because I don't want just, yeah, let's do all. Then color, this color should change to white on over. Let's see how that, oh, why do I have this? Sorry. Yeah, white. Fine. Okay, so let's see how this works. Okay, okay. All right, do you see how that goes? We can as well add the timing function if you want. Let's do ease out, ease in out. Let's use ease in out. Let's see. I always have to refresh. Why? Okay, you see that? Lovely. Okay, I want to change the font family for the rest of the elements aside from the logo. So I'm going to use the universal selector. I'm going to place font family here. and we're going to be using Taoma. Yeah, this is it, Taoma. So let's see. Oh, fine, this is lovely. So let's see if we're on track. Yeah, so we're done with the header. So now let's move to the main body. So now we're moving to the main body. So we'll be taking each section one after the other to work with. So under header, the next semantic tag we'll be using is main. Okay. So the first section, we're going to call it a class of top section. Okay. Now in this section, we're going to be having a div to center all of the text that will be on top of our background image. So that's why we're having this div. We're going to be calling this div consciously top sub section. Okay, now in this div we're going to be having h2 welcome to the peach house. Peach house. Okay, now we're going to be having a p tag. Let's use the Lauren 10. Okay, then let's have a link with the class. You know, we've styled the class btn before, so and we want our website to have continuity. That's why we've already styled the general button class that we'll be using for all of our buttons. So I'm going to give this link a button class so that that style can be effected on it. So this this leads nowhere, so we're just going to use hash. Then inside this link it's going to say learn more. So let's see how this, let's save it and let's see. Okay, so this is what we have. Now let's style this particular section. This is what we have, this is where we are going to, this is what we want to see. Okay, so let's work our magic. Now let's go to our style dot css. That's the first thing we want to target. Subsection. Now our top section, we're going to be giving it a height of 50 view height. That is 50 out of the 100 view height of the particular screen we're working, we want it to take up to 50%. That's 50 view height. Okay, that's what 50 view height means. Then we want a width of 100%. 100%. Then background image. Okay, so we have a URL, enter your quotation mark. Now I've already saved a page for this particular background, and this is it. So we're just going to copy the image address, then go back to our code, then put it in between here. Okay, and that is it. Next thing we want to do is if I don't do background no repeats, let me show you what this looks like. Can you see how repeated this looks? So we do not want that, so we're going to say background repeats no repeat. Next thing is we want it to cover all of the points we have portioned for it, so we say background size cover. Then the position should be center. Background of, where are you, background distance, so I have to type everything. Okay, background position, center. Then up next we'll be having we are going to flex this so we can use it to center the child div. So let's call this flex. Then we're going to justify content center and align items center. Whew, okay. Then I want all of the color inside this section to be the 9E 4244. Okay, so let's see where we had. Okay, why is this happening? Okay, so why is it showing like that on my screen? Okay, okay, that's been corrected. Next thing is the div inside this top section, which we named top sub section. Now the only style we want to give this is text align center, so we can align all the text inside of it to be in the center plus the button. So let's see. Okay, now we just need to use margin and padding to space the child elements correctly. So let's pick the H2 first. We want the font size to be bigger, so let's give it a font size of 3 rem. Control Z. Then we want a margin top and bottom of 1.5 rem and 0 at left and right. I guess that's all for our H2. Then let's have our P. Okay, let me scroll up so we can see. So our P now, we want it to have a font size of 1.2 rem. Okay, then we want to transform the letters inside it to be capitalized. That means every first word is in capital letters. So you see, let's see, can you see each of the first words are in capital letters? So let's give it a margin bottom to push the button downwards. Margin bottom of 3 rem. Okay, let's see how that works. Oh, pretty. So this is what we are having now. This is it. So can you see we are moving? But why is this thing? Okay. So next section, now we want, in this next section, what we're trying to do is have a section that helps us, combine two containers in one row, and also how to use our overflow property to achieve this in that one line. Okay, so that's what the next section is going to be about. So let's go back to our let's go back here. Then we're going to have a new section and we're going to name it about section. Okay, inside this about section, we're going to be having two divs. So the first div is going to be we're going to give it a class name of first. Oh, I didn't have to do this. Just say first. So it gives the class name of first. Then we're going to do inside this, we're going to have an H3 for the heading. let's do a lorem 50. Okay, then um okay, I think that's it. Oh, sorry, H3 is supposed to be the heading, right? Let's do a lorem 5 or a lorem 4 rather. Yes. Then the key is going to have the lorem 50. So same thing with the second one. Let's just duplicate this and change this to second. Oh, we want this to have more words because we're trying to use the overflow property. So we're going to have a lorem 30 more. Okay, yeah, so I think that's all we need in the HTML for this particular section. So the next thing we want to do is use our style.css to style this particular section. So let's have our about section. Okay, so here we've used display flex before, so let's use display grid here. Let's use display grid. In this we want to have a max width as well, so it doesn't expand more than 1000 pixels. Then we want to center it by using margin, top and bottom, 2 rem, then center it with auto for left and right. Next thing, we want a grid gap, that is the gap between the two containers, to be 30 pixels. Now we have to we have to uh, we have to describe our grid templates. So grid template areas. So we're going to do grid template areas. We're going to use first and second. Yeah. So now we have to, since we've declared our grid template areas, we have to reference these grid areas to the particular columns we want it to reference. So we're going to say dot first, name of the grid area we gave first should be first. So we say first. Then same thing with second, dot second, right? Grid area for second should be second. Okay. So let's see how that looks like right now. Okay, now this is how it looks like. Okay, fine. So we still need to change the color, add some paddings and some stylings to the H3 and H. So now there are some styles that we are going to be applying to both this container, which are the same style. So we do not want repetition of code. So I'm just going to group the first and second together and style them together. So the first thing that we're going to do is padding. We're going to give them padding of 1 rem. Then the text color should be 9. I'm coming. Let's ask 9. Yeah. So, and we want the text aligned to be justified. That is end to end. It shouldn't be in the center or in the beginning or at the end. So we're just going to use justify. Let's see how that works. Okay, so can you see? Alright, we're getting there. Now the next thing we want to do is target the H3. So let's use the about section H3, since there are multiple H3 in this page. So this, when we talked about specificity, this this particular selector is higher than just using h3. Okay, so that's why I use it this way. So now what we want to do to the h3 is we have to increase the font size. Let's give it a font size of 2 rem. Then we want a margin bottom, so so it will push the p tag downwards. So let's give it a margin bottom of 2 rem as well. Then the same thing with the p. Let's target the p. Oh, sorry. So we want to increase font size as well for p. Then we want to increase the line height, that is the space between the first sentence and the second sentence. So that's, let's give it 1.5. So we see now, yes, the line height has been increased. Okay, it's already looking like it. Now next thing we want to do is for this second, we're going to give this a max height of 30 vh. Okay, let's see. We won't see anything yet, but the moment I change it to scroll, then we'll see it in action. So overflow should be overflow. Let's use overflow y, should be scroll. So let's see how that works. Okay, can you see now? Now you can scroll. Okay. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Can you see? Okay, now let's go to the next section. What does next section look like? Okay, this is what the next section looks like. It has like an info sort of page, info section with form and this beautiful flower thing. Okay, so let's move. Next thing we want to do is go back to our index.html and sorry, index.html. So we want to create another section. This section will be called the info section. Now in this info section, we're going to be having a div of info sub section. I hope you're paying attention to how I'm naming my classes, because for readability purpose, if someone should look at this page now, this code now, it's very easy to grab that, okay, there's a top section, there's a top subsection, so the person understands that this is a subset of this. So it's always good to think of generic names, you know, names that are easier to grab by another person when they are checking through your codes for readability. So let's just continue. Now inside the info subsection, we're going to be having a div again for the sub info. Sorry, there should be a class sub info. Okay, inside the sub info, that's where we have the h2 of need to ask me something, or what was it? Need to know more. Yeah, need to know more. Then we have a h3 of ask us. Right. Okay, now we are having another div inside this info subsection for the form. So now it's going to be the form, and we're going to name this form, we're going to name give this form a class of info main. we are not going to be working with this form, so we do not need this action. Now inside this form, we're going to be having divs. So this first div is going to be for label, and this label is going to be for first name. Now if you're naming anything in code, you do not want to put space in between. If it's a very long word, you have to like turn it to a compound word by using either hyphen or what's the name of this, underscore, something to join them together. Because when you give a particular class, whatever name you're giving your class, when you give it space, the code reads it as two different words. Okay, so when you try to now style it and use dot first space name, it wouldn't be able to reference it, because it's going to take first as first alone and name as name alone. Okay, so if you're going to make it one word, it's that you join it together using camel casing. What do I mean by camel casing? This is how camel casing works in code. The N is in capital, so that kind of joins the first and the name together. Okay, or you just do first name or something, but I'm just going to use communication here. So now we're going to be having, okay, inside this label we want the label to read first name with a colon. Now for every label, if you're using these 4 attributes, in case of when you want to actually use a form, for every 4 attributes, the input has to have an ID that links to that 4. Okay, so our input here now, type is going to be text, because yeah, we are looking for name. Now our ID has to tally with these 4 attributes, so we're going to also name it first name. Okay, please take note of this. Then we're going to be having a placeholder. Placeholder is like a guideline for the person filling the form. So let's say enter your first name as the guide here. Okay, so now we're just going to duplicate this div in 2 places, then change the what we have there. So this is last name, this is going to be last name, this is going to be last, and this is going to be enter your last name. Now here we're working with email address, so say email, enter your email. Then here, this is going to be, it's not going to be text, it's going to be the email input type. This is going to be email, and this is going to be enter your email address. Okay, so then we're going to be having an extra input, which is going to be the submit input, that helps us submit the form data. Submit, we do not need this, we do not need this either. I'm just going to give it a class of btn, so it takes the styling of the general button style that we've done initially. And also we are going to be having an image in here. I've already saved it up somewhere. Yeah, it's here. So we're just going to copy the image address. Oh, okay. Then just name this flower. Okay, so that's that for this section. So we need to go to the style.css now to see how we can style this info section. Okay, style.css. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is style the info section itself. Sorry, .info section. Okay. For .info section, we want to give it a background color. Now background color of FC 94 FC 9483. Yeah, that's it. It's 3. Okay. Then we're going to have padding of 2 rem, top and bottom. Sorry, top and bottom. Then 0 left and right. Color is going to be white. Okay. So we're going to be using display grid with our info subsection, but because I have declared a grid system here, so I'm just going to add it up here so we don't have repeated codes somewhere. So let's just do info subsection rather, info subsection here. Okay, then next thing we want to do is now style info dot section itself alone. Now info subsection, we want to declare its own grid template area, so we're going to be using sub main. That means we want sub to take one of the 3 columns, a 3-column area, then the main should take 2 of the 3-column area. So because of this, we're going to have to declare our grid template columns, and we're going to be having repeat 3 times 1 fraction. So that's that. Okay. What again? What are we styling again? So we're going to be styling each columns of the of this info sub area. So the first one is sub info. So sub info, we're going to name the grid area for sub info, and we name that subs. Okay, I think it's subs, not subs. Yeah, subs. Now uh dot info main grid area for it. Info main, the grid area is main. Okay, now we want to reduce the width of this particular grid area to 30%. Then info main should have a width of 100%. Okay. Now we want to target the H2 in info sub info. Okay, so we have dot sub info H2. No, not dot, sorry, the child selector. So we're going to change the color for the H2 to be this naive photo, and I guess that's it for H2. Then the info main, we want to target the divs that hold all of the labels, so that's going to be that info main. Then use the child selector. Every child of info main that is a div, we want it to have a margin bottom of 1 rem. Okay, now we want to go over the label. We want the labels to display in block, because originally it's an inline element, so we want it to be block, and we want to increase the font size. to 1.3 rem. Then the next thing is the input itself. You want to target the input, and say it should be 70% of its parent. Then you want the padding inside it to be 0.5 rem. Yeah, then we want the border. No border, we don't want a border around it, so we say none, but we want a border radius. Give it a border radius of 5 pixels. Oh, sorry. Then we want to increase the font size as well to 1 rem. Okay. Sorry, we want the font size to increase to 1 rem. We do not want any outline. Outline, let me show you what outline is before I change it off. Okay, so if I click on this now, this is what outline means. This so I want to show you what outline means. If I click as okay, I want to show you what outline means. So if I click on this blue line over this input is what we call outline, and we don't want it. Okay, so if I do outline none, it's going to disappear. So let's check it out now. So if I click on here, can you see that it's gone? So that's what outline is for. Then we want to change the cursor movement to pointer when it comes to the input. Yeah, that's that about that. Now the next thing we want to do is the image. Start the image. Now we are going to remove the image from the flow of the document, and doing that we're going to have to give its parent element a position relative and give it position absolute. So the parent element for this image is info subsection. So here we're going to be giving position relative. Now this image takes in position absolute. Oh yeah, so let's see how that works. Can you see it's jumped up where it's not supposed to be? So now we want to reduce the size and style it accordingly. So let's give it a width of 280 pixel, a height. Oh sorry, this is not aligning right. So and height of auto. Okay, so it should automatically detect what height is good for it. Now we want to position it now, so we want it to go to the top of its parent element, but we want it to go out of its parent element, so we are going to be using a negative value. Let's use top 200 pixel, so 200 pixel away from its parent element. Then right 130 pixel close to the right. Let's see where that takes us. Okay, it's where it's supposed to be. Now we want the borders to be rounded, so let's do a border radius of 30 pixels. Yeah, that's what 30 pixels looks like. Maybe I could even increase it to 40. Let's see how 40 looks like. Yeah, 40 looks a lot better. So this is not sitting well yet with the others, so we need to set that up. So we'll do input, but the input with the class of btn, that's what we want to target. So we'll say font weight is bold. bold. Okay, and oh, this supposed to be border box. Oh, okay, that's the problem. That's crazy. Okay, so I think, yeah, because I was wondering why. Yep. Um, you could do something with um this flower. Let's go here. The image. Let's add the border box on box shadow. Let's say 0, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, and let's do this one. But I'd like to reduce. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Okay, that's fine. This is what the box shadow is for. A little bit of. Oh, and why is this broken? 30 pixels. Where is it? And let's turn this to 35. Still not working. Why is it not working? Let's see. So that's it with the flower, and um the next thing we want to look at is the footer. It's just this text, and we're done with this page. Now I'm sort of having mixed feelings with this box shadow. I think it's better off without it. What do you think? Okay, I don't know. Let's leave it anyway. Okay, so now the footer is the next thing we want to do here, and we're done for this site. Um, First we have to go to the index.html. Then under the main, we're going to be adding the footer tag. Then we're going to be using this combination for the copyright. So using this copy, then we have copyright 2022, then we have this forward slash, then we have our tag choice. Yeah, that's it for this that's it for the index.html. Now for the style.css, all we've got to do is reference footer directly, give it a padding of 1 rem all over. Then we want the text to go to the center, so we set align center. Then we want color TV9E. This one, where is it? It's not here. 9, yeah, this one. Then we want the font weight to be bold. And yep, that should do it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first static website ready to go. So all of our features are included. You have the home on overable, you have the overable links, and you have your subscribe button, the learn more button. You have this whole thing going on here. You have your overflow property down here. You have um the positioning thing. We have the form styling. You have your grid container. You have flex. Then you have the footer. So this in one way or the other has been able to help us cut across most of the things we've learned in the past few days and weeks. So definitely your task would be generated from something like this. So that's why I had to first build one for everyone to see. So I'm looking forward to what you're going to achieve. Your tasks will be ready by tomorrow, and best of luck. So see you guys in the next video.